Welcome to Juni. You can support the Juni team by downloading our smartphone application. Available now on Apple's App Store and Google Play. Follow us on Instagram, like and share our Facebook page, and access our text-to-speech versions of our articles by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Our website is wejuni.com. Start of article. The title of the article is Salt of the Earth. An act of terrorism shocks Australia as 6 killed by Queensland degenerate in Bondi Junction. Published on April 26, 2024 as the opinion of contributor, Caroline Peters. On any typical Saturday afternoon, Westfield Bondi Junction would be like any other popular shopping mall around the world. Unfortunately, the events that took place on the 13th of April 2024 brought a nation to its knees and left the world in shock. A 40-year-old Australian man from the state of Queensland, Joel Cauchi, stabbed and killed 6 people while injuring 12 others, who were innocently enjoying an afternoon of retail therapy. While many people typically think of Australia being a country that doesn't experience as much terrorism or crime as other nations, a number of similarly incited stabbings have occurred, with a Sydney priest and a Melbourne mother being attacked recently. The Melbourne Burke Street attack in 2017 was the last time the country saw a similar fatal incident of this size and type, but now the country is again on high alert following this incident. At the scene of the crime, Australian police officer, Inspector Amy Scott confronted and shot dead the perpetrator. She has now been hailed a hero by the country's Prime Minister for trying to stand up to the attacker. CCTV also captured a hero holding onto a bollard, trying to halt Cauchi's movements on an escalator. Following the event, many were taken to the hospital, including a small baby of just 9 months old. Heading: How the event played out on television and social media. Before the perpetrator was identified, many alt-right and far-right within the Australian diaspora as well as overseas personalities, including members of UK, French and US press presented content with false accusations. Incorrect identification was prevalent in many media reports, inciting a barrage of public comments, leaving many unsure what to believe. The Local 7 network had to issue an apology for mistakenly identifying a University of Technology, UTS, 20-year-old student as the perpetrator. The network has now settled the legal dispute for an undisclosed amount. Social media companies such as Facebook now look justified in recently closing its news tab, after Meta vowed to stop paying Australian publishers for content. The perpetrator was known to the Australian police. It's unclear what the motivation was for the attack, but the media were quick to label the perpetrator as mentally disturbed and not a terrorist. Bias in media reporting as well as social media isn't uncommon following this type of incident, but toxic misogyny and misandry are well known in Australia, predominantly in the state of Queensland, and still commonplace to this day and age. Witnesses who were in the shopping mall at the time stated the perpetrator was wearing an Australian Kangaroos rugby league jersey and shorts, walking around as anyone would on a casual afternoon out. The graduate from Harrisdown State High School in Toowoomba was first seen ordering from a Vietnamese restaurant, Saigon Noodle, then captured on CCTV leaving Japanese variety store Daiso. In what appeared to be out of nowhere, the perpetrator began stabbing members of the public, leaving people feeling shocked, scared and unable to feel relaxed in a public setting. Heading: The burdening pariah state of Queensland. In 2014, due to excessive usage and a rise in the number of seizures, Queensland State Parliament elevated steroids to the status of a Schedule I drug, placing them in the same category as heroin, cocaine, and ice, the most severe classification for illicit substances. According to a 2019 National Drug Strategy Household Survey, NDSHS, among people aged 14 and over, 1 in 7 smoked tobacco daily, 1 in 4 consumed 5 or more drinks in one sitting, at least monthly, and 1 in 6 used an illicit drug in a 12-month period. The Australian Criminal Intelligence Commission, ACIC, released a 2021 report stating that specifically, Queenslanders have high rates of illicit drug use of MDMA, cocaine and methamphetamine consumption. Queensland homicides have surged by 50% within a year. In response, the police service put in place plans to bolster its efforts by recruiting over 100 specialised officers for vulnerable persons units over the next 2 years. According to Queensland police data, 24 individuals were reportedly murdered in the last fiscal year, marking an increase from 16 victims in the preceding year. Many qualified lawyers, doctors, engineers, police officers, models and even politicians have been relieved to leave the state of Queensland due to uncivilised behaviour. The quality of education in the state has been in sharp decline, while the broad Australian accent, which indicates a mental retardation caused from intergenerational excessive alcohol/drug use, and chemically imbalanced testosterone/estrogen levels, leading to poisoned zygotes, bipolar behavior and gender identity issues, is commonplace. It's worth mentioning that a history of violence is closely associated with drover mentality Queenslanders. The cruel apartheid system in South Africa was closely modelled from Queensland's Aboriginal Protection Act, 1897. Australia as a whole is a country that doesn't typically feature around the globe for such events, but with horrific incidents on the rise in recent months, the public is beginning to question media representation and the motivation for these attacks. The city of Sydney and the state of New South Wales and the country as a whole remain on high alert following this tragic incident, and our thoughts are with the families of those impacted by this horrific event. People don't need an ill-informed Australian's interpretation of what is and isn't a terrorist act. People do need security agencies like the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, ASIO, to be doing their job in identifying and monitoring pariah states that produce such degenerates. Shame on you, Queensland. Shame. 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 More articles can be found on our smartphone application. Available now on Apple's App Store and Google Play. Follow us on Instagram, like and share our Facebook page and access our text-to-speech versions of our articles by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Our website is wejourney.com. End of article.